Hi, Matt with eTrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Thule RodVault Fly Fishing Pole Carrier. Now this is going to be a great option if you're looking for something that's going to be hassle-free so you can carry your fly rods. So let's take a closer look at it. This is going to be great for keeping your rods safe, and it's going to give them extra security. And the biggest thing to me is it's just going to be faster to work with. So if you're someone who's taking those longer trips, you're gone for a few days or even a week, and you're going to a lot of different spots in between there, you're probably going to have a lot of setup. This here takes all that out because we're going to have an extra large container. So we don't have to deal with setting this up and tearing it down each time so we can get back on the water sooner. Now something I do want to point out before we go any further is to make sure that this is going to be compatible with your setup. And we're going to need some type of rack. So whether you have a roof rack, a ladder rack, or a platform rack, this will be compatible because it just needs something to grab onto up here. So today we're going to be going over a few things. The first thing is going to be talk about what stands out the most to me about this. Then we'll go over some of the specs, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. So the first thing that stands out to me is pretty obvious, and that's going to be that it's an enclosed carrier. And what's really nice about this is typically if you have a really nice rod, you want to keep it somewhere safe, like inside your vehicle. Now keeping it inside your vehicle isn't always super convenient. Keeping it on top of your roof, now that's going to be much more convenient, but a lot of times it's going to be more exposed. This does it both, and it does it well. And part of the reason why it's going to do so well for that is going to be because of the construction. So this is going to be made from aluminum, and that's really nice because it's going to be a sturdier construction, and on top of that it's going to be a corrosion resistant. So with you having a fishing rod or a fly rod, you're probably going to be by water quite often, so having this be corrosion resistant is going to go a long way. And the last thing I did want to mention about this construction is when you are driving with this just gives you a lot of peace of mind, because even with our mounting locations being that far back, this feels really good. Now there's a lot of other enclosed fly rod carriers, and some of them do collapse down, which can save you space, unlike this one, but you'll notice when you're driving down the road with them, they move quite a bit in comparison. So for me, this just gives me more peace of mind for my investment. Now on the topic of protecting your investment, if we look at the other end, inside of here we can see one of our rods. And the way this does it is we have this elastic band that holds this in place, and it does a really good job at it. Here's a better look at how it looks. It's a really simple design that just wraps around at the very end. And then when you're ready, you can secure it down just like this. And since we're over here, let's talk about the next big thing to me, and that's going to be our security. So when I pull this down, this locks into place, and it's going to do that automatically. So make sure you have your keys on hand. Come over here, unlocks. Now we can't leave it unlocked. Once you undo this, it's going to pop open. If you pull this down, it's going to lock again. And this is a pretty slick system here. We're going to have one at the very front, and you're going to have a lock core for each one of your clamps. Now a couple of other things that really stand out to me is going to be this sleek design we have up here. I think it looks nice, and it's going to save us space on the other side. So if you have anything like a bike rack or a kayak carrier you want to put up there too, you have room to do that. And this is, again, really easy to use because we don't have to break anything down. Now, something that is going to be a big decider in this too is just going to be your setup, because we do have a taller vehicle today, and we have a really long rod. So you want to make sure you're not going to be bending this at all. But speaking of the length of rods, we can talk about the specs now. So you saw the one I took out now was pretty long, and this is going to be designed to fit rods upwards to 10 feet. Now you can get an extension for this. We're going to have that on our website, and that's going to be extended by 2 feet. So if you have a 12-foot rod, that will be compatible with this too. Another thing to keep in mind is going to be the weight of this and size. So this is going to be a little bit over 25 pounds. So it being this long can be a little bit awkward, so I'd recommend having a friend to help you out. But also take into consideration if you have a couple other things on top of your roof, make sure you don't exceed your roof's weight capacity. Now, when you're storing this in your garage, that's why I recommend checking out the size. We actually have the dimensions of that on our webpage to make sure it's going to fit into your space. And I do want to point out how this clamp is going to work. Now, if I remove our end cap, you can tell that we have just one bolt in there. You can tighten that down with an included Allen key, so it's pretty easy to do. And we're going to have this rubber strap that reaches around and grabs onto here. I like a rubber strap clamp because it makes full contact with the crossbars. And speaking of those crossbars, we want to make sure that this is going to be compatible with yours. And in most cases it will, because it will work with your round, square, arrow, and even some of your HD bars like I have right here. Now for my final thoughts, I think this is going to be a solid option if you are someone who's taking those longer trips and you just want to get to the water faster and you don't want to deal with assembling and disassembling your rods. Now another great option I'd recommend is going to be the Thule CRC carrier. And what's nice about that is it does telescope and it can save you space if you just can't store this in your home. Now if you can, I would recommend this because this is going to be a lot more sturdy, and for me, it gives you more peace of mind, especially if you have some nicer rods. And we'd love to hear how you're using this and if this has saved you time on your fishing trips. But of course, if you guys have any other questions, let us know here at eTrailer. And again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.